something you want to do. So these 3 images, 2 of them are me, of course, and the one is something that I draped on the mannequin. Since 2009, I started making all my own clothes just so that I can forcefully get my skills correct, done, and confident. So that's the first page. I'll just whiz through. Okay, so after making clothes for a while, I realized that me wearing it out, people started asking me, who made that for you? How did you get that? And I said, yeah, it was me. The main reason, other than wanting my own designs and wanting my own clothes, the main reason for making my clothes was because I didn't have the ordinary body shape that you'd get from the high street. So smaller chested, and then a wider hip, and then a smaller waist. So nothing ever fit. It was an anomaly to get a pair of trousers that fit. But I knew that in order to understand pattern cutting and sewing, I had to go back to the basics, the fundamentals. How do I sew straight? How do I draft a pattern? And how do I put pieces together? So I'm just going to, again, whiz through. These are just images of me wearing the clothes that I made. So it's like a pair of trousers that actually fit because I made it, a top, and that was my first attempt to make a bra, which worked. So just going to keep whizzing through. Then as I started making more clothes, celebrities started approaching me. I was like, what? So this is one of my artists, Neo, and I forgot his name. He's Nile Rodgers, yes, Nile Rodgers. So Neo did a song with Nile Rodgers, and I was there at Jules Holland BBC 2, and I made Neo's bra and trouser 2-piece, and that's a little drawing that I did there. So that's all from learning how to sew straight and saying yes to myself. I'm gonna give myself the opportunity to really take this seriously and take it to the next step. Neo started getting into magazines, was on shows in Berlin, all wearing the clothes that I made her. So all these garments that you see, I made. Just from learning how to sew straight and taking time out and putting the energy in to push through. Had another opportunity to work with Tom Jones's mentee, Ruti, who won The Voice UK 2018. So I made her clothes, and again made more clothes for Neo and another girl called Nandi. So that was awesome. Okay, as I developed, I realized that it was a strong need for like the social aspect of what it was I was doing. I realized there wasn't enough people of color within the fashion and creative craft industry. It was heavily dominated by Eurocentric mindsets, and I felt that in order to create more equality in these spaces, I would create a social enterprise where I'd support young BAME girls, that's Black, Asian, minority, ethnics, who want to get into the fashion industry through understanding technical skills. So all the courses that I run, a percentage of the proceeds goes towards supporting them, and it was picked up by the local newspaper, which was amazing. Oh, we've lost one person? Oh. It's okay. I'll just carry on. Cool. These are the students I've worked with. This young lady, she came to me wanting to understand pattern cutting. So we had 2 days, 5 hours. She did one-to-one sessions with me. And at the end, she made a pair of trousers and a top for her project, which was awesome. At the end of it, she said to me, did I actually make this myself? And I was like, yeah, just with my guidance and pushing through and support. That's how you got there. And then she developed, started making this. Not to say that everyone wants to do like fashion, but it's having the opportunity to learn the fundamental skills, which you can then diversify and grow into spaces that make sense for you. So if it's making things to maybe sell on Etsy, or just making things at home to fix, altering a pair of trousers that you buy from the high street that doesn't fit, taking it at the waist. That's what knowing and understanding the fundamentals of sewing does for you. Again, this is something called a toile, which we'll be doing in the introduction to sewing. This is obviously a garment. Introduction to sewing, we're going to be doing something more smaller scale, so a simple bag. But the principle of making a simple bag is still used when making garments like this that are more elaborate. But I was just showing you how extreme we can get into in terms of designing. I had this was an ex-banker actually. He wanted to learn how to make a ball gown. Sorry, I just want to stop. Can we all see the ball gown on the page? Because I know sometimes Zoom can freeze. Perfect. All on the same page. Great. So yeah, this is draping. So as you advance from making the simplest thing, then you can go down the route of draping, ball gowns or things like that. But that's few and far between. Those are the ones who, if they want to take it like a career into fashion design. But again, the fundamental of sewing something straight and getting it accurate so it looks like you bought it from a shop then easily takes you to this more advanced stage. Again, that's the girls from the social enterprise. And what's so beautiful about it, these kimonos were made by the two girls, if I go back, these two girls, and they had never sewn. And this was the first time they were making something so like structurally. We spent the full 2 days, I believe, doing that. And they themselves were shocked. Like, actually, was I able to produce this on my own? I was like, well, with the guidance and support, and again, teaching you the fundamentals of sewing, you're able to create something like this. I also had an opportunity of teaching 26 women draping and design. That was also awesome. That was pre-COVID. Unfortunately, now we still don't know what's going on. That's why I've spent so much time working out ways where I can present to you on a multi-camera setup, as I explained before. Cool. Okay, so introduction to sewing. What will we cover? The key factors that I'll be focusing on is how to draft your own pattern. So we'll be drafting a bag pattern, and I will show you how to do that. I even have a video, so if you actually, I can click into the video quickly of me.
Talk to me nice, talk to me honestly. Look in my eyes, don't let it fall on me. Say you a good guy, make me believe it. Don't wanna hear it, I wanna see it. See how rewind, when we rewind, feels so nice. With time, you I know how to make me feel right. I can't help how. Got this sweet talk, I'm already on my way. I'm pulling up, don't be late. I'm cutting through all the lanes. Sweet talk, you need to say less to me. No need for no flowers, babe. I'm already on my way, on my way. Why you blushing? Yeah, sweet concussion. Oh, you
Cool.
miss my touch.
I'm just going to let her play in the background. So this is literally what we're going to be doing. We'll be starting off with drafting a pattern. I know most introductions to sewing don't offer this part because many people see it as difficult. But I feel like it's not. This is, if you can understand the fundamentals of drafting your own pattern, then you can easily then move into the body if you choose to. The key that I want to focus on is getting you guys comfortable with, yes, having the initial stages of the drafting. Then we're going to look at how we sew straight, how we apply finishings, how we make a ruffle. If you saw in the video drafting, design of the bag was just with a ruffle edge. Actually, if I go to the next slide, but I'll do that in a second. With a ruffle edge. And the plan is that we do this for 4 weeks. Each week, we will dedicate 1 to 2 hours. I know people's schedules are slightly different. So, what we can do is have a group that's midweek. So, say again, like a Wednesday at 6:30 for those that can join, and then a session at on a Saturday, maybe around 11, 12. Again, it would be for those that sign up and go ahead. In terms of fees, generally, if someone was working with me on a one-to-one basis, the rate is £50 an hour. So for the hours that I'm offering in terms of doing the introduction to sewing does amount to around £400. But as I want to really execute this and push through and see how this works for majority of you and how we execute it together, the rate this time, it's only going to be 147. So you see, can you see these two bags on the left? Yeah. So the bag on the left is a simple tote, and the bag on the right is a simple ruffle tote. Because we have 3 weeks, the focus again is not making of the bag, but it's actually how to make the bag, the as I said, the fundamentals of making the bag. Once you've drafted your pattern, what I want you also to do is draft a different size. If you know how to draft like a small size, I'll get you to draft a bigger size and then actually sew the both sizes. Once you've made that, I'd also want you to just keep repeating it, if that makes sense. Yeah? So the goal isn't, I want to make a nice bag. The goal is, can I make this bag nice enough that it looks like I bought it from a shop? Yeah? Okay, I've been rambling on. Do we have any questions so far? I wanted to show you the sewing machine. And for those, actually, let me see if I can go into another setup. Bear with me. Awesome. Can you see the sewing machine? Yeah, cool. Is everyone on mute? Can everyone unmute so I can hear you? So this is your part. This is questions throwing out there. At the moment, you should be able to see 3 cameras: me, the machine, and then you can see above. Yeah, cool, awesome. Does anyone have any questions or like? Because what I want to do is just literally walk you through the sewing machine and basically how it works. Is that okay? Awesome. Cool. So this is a Janome. I recommend everyone to get one because it's just so simple. The other brands are Brother. You can get a Benina and Faf. I've created a kind of a PDF that if anyone is interested, please at the end of it, I'll just send it's a free PDF of equipment you should get if you want to start sewing and the sewing machines I would recommend. Yeah. So this Janome, you've got on the top, you've got your thread, and then you've got these spools that just run through. Yeah? The idea is you have 2 sections when it comes to sewing. You have the upper thread and then you have the lower thread. The lower thread is found here. So I can actually zoom. Can you see that? Awesome. So when you're threading, okay, I'll talk about when you're threading your machine, you start with the top, you pop this on the top, and then there's just a little eyelet. When we do actually have the sessions, I would want you to have your sewing machine in front of you, so while I'm talking, then you can like cut in between what you have in front of you and the videos. Yeah. So, and then what's amazing on the sewing machines, there's markings as in directions of where you'd want to sew. There's 1, then there's a 2 mark here, and then you go up. And then I'm just gonna zoom in. Does everyone on this call have a domestic sewing machine? Yeah. And can you thread it? Oh, good. And can you sew straight on it? You can sew straight. Okay, so this is Stephanie. How many projects have you made so far? I love that. That's brilliant. And was do you felt comfortable with it? It was good, awesome. But then now it's like I guess making projects with it. Cool. Okay. And who else? Shannon, you've got a sewing machine, and can you sew? Can you thread and sew straight on it? If you've noticed, okay, I'm just going to zoom in on the plate. Bear with me. On your plates, you have markings. Does everyone know that? And these markings are indicators of the seam allowance. So you've got, usually on the machines, you have 10, 15, and 20. 10 is 10 millimeters, 15 is 15 millimeters, and 20 is 20 millimeters. But if you turn that into centimeters, 10 is 1 centimeter, 15 is 1.5, and I put my finger on there, and then 20 is 2 centimeters. So anytime you have a project, depending on what the seam allowance is on the project, you will go by that. When I say sewing straight, using those markers will allow you to sew straight. But I'll explain that if and when you decide to go on to start the introduction to sewing. But I just want to quickly whiz through. This is actually a bag. So the one of the bags that I showed you earlier, I'm making one out of this banana fabric. Don't ask me why. But I'm literally making one, and I just cut it up this morning. Yeah. So I'm just going to quickly show you. So what I'm doing is the edge of this is going on the 10, as I said, because I want the seam allowance to be 1 centimeter. And this is the ruffle part, so I'm just going to put the stitch length. Let me show you the stitch length. Put the stitch length on 4 because I want it quite loose, so I can pull it afterwards, and then I'll decrease the tension. When I sew and I start, I just want to check. I always check to see if I'm happy with the stitch. And then when it comes to pins, everyone has their own philosophy. Some people pin and then they stitch over. Others take their pins off. But for me, when I'm sewing, I like to take my pins off, and I don't use as many pins. Sometimes I also hand baste. You know what hand basting is? Hand basting is when you would hand sew it first before you finally so you will hand sew it first to check that you're happy with the seams and how it fits. Once you're happy, you can remove the stitches out. Sorry. Once you're happy with the hand basting and it's secure, your project's secure, you use the sewing machine, sew it on the sewing machine, and then once you've taken it off the sewing machine, you just remove the hand baste of the basted threads. This is another way of securing your work and getting more accurate in your work. So if you notice, I've been sewing straight. All I've been doing is focusing on the positioning at the moment. Oh, do you know what's happened? the needle was pushing against the foot. Excuse me. This is when I'm in terms of instructing people how to sew. Sometimes, like, yes, I can sew straight, but what happens when I've got troubleshooting problems like that? And there's always a few little tips and tricks that you could do, and I will talk you through that. What just happened there was that the needle, if I zoom in, okay, I'll work on the autofocus. Yeah, the needle. So I'm just checking. I just need to work on the autofocus of the camera. But no, oh, yeah. The needle was trapped in between the teeth. So when I was pressing it, it wasn't happy. So when you hear that noise, stop and check. See what the needle's doing, see what the base is doing, and then restart. Yeah? So I'm going to carry on. What do you think of the cameras, guys? Can I get feedback? This is what it's clear. Good. Awesome. Cool. So I am coming out. And that's all I wanted to do. And then I'll pull that and shape it on my final bag, which I will do later. Do we have any questions? I'm conscious of time and I don't want to take up too much of your time because you've come out on a Wednesday evening to come and share with me. Any questions, guys, or anything that you have me here? I'm happy to answer any questions. Oh, hey! Yeah, I can. I'm happy to have a session with you. Like, what I want to make sure this cohort of introduction to sewing, I want to make sure as individuals as well your needs are met. So yes, we'll have the classes like this setup, but if there's ever an instance where like, okay, Joyce, I don't get this, can I get extra tuition on that? I'm more than happy to meet up because you may not be the only one that has that problem as well. So I can get you guys together and we can like recap on something. And also the classes will be recorded and then uploaded onto a platform called Thinkific. I will show you, but actually I don't think I put the link up, but if I go into the presentation, I will go into, yes, can you see? It's www.alphafemaleacademy.thinkific.com. That's where we will run through all the breakdown. So after this class, so I'll send you. Actually, let me see if I can put it in the chat. Good question. Of the link, that's where you can see the breakdown of the class, as well as make the booking if it's something you want to do. Yeah. So to answer your question, Tashia, if is yours a digital sewing machine? Does it have like a digital screen, or it doesn't have the bobbin like mine? Is that okay? It's not digital. Okay, fine. Because some of them, the feeds are slightly different. So if this feed is different, I'll create a video, or we can have a little session in that to work on it. Any other questions? I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'll put this in the chat. Bear with me. Or what I didn't say, the plan is to start next week. next week, Wednesday, same time, but that's based on the needs of the students. So I will be in touch. So those that register from now, oh, someone's it's on the train. Okay, those that register from now until next week before Wednesday, I'll have the cutoff day Wednesday. I will finalize when we'll have them officially. But I want to make sure that obviously I'm conscious of people's schedules, so it would be one evening and then like a Saturday morning. Yeah, I'm just putting the link in. And oh, okay, no problem. Okay, no worries. Okay, yes. So it will, yes, yes. So it will be a repeat. Yeah, I'll make it as a repeat. So we'll have an hour on the Wednesday and then an hour on the Saturday. It's the same. I want to make sure it's the same session, but it will be repeated. So the first session would be how to draft a pattern. So the little mini video I showed you, I will walk you through how to draft the pattern. Um, but even prior to that, I'll need to just give you a list of things you need to get. The key you need to get is a pattern master. Did you see that clear thing that I had? A pattern master, I think that's just under, I think it's around like £12. And then a pencil, a mechanical pencil, so you don't have to keep sharpening all the time. Those are the two main things that you'd need. And then drafting paper, or if you're on a budget, you can just buy A3 paper, and then stick them. Yeah, go. Yeah, 1 hour per week for 4 weeks, but we'll have repeated sessions. Again, I want to flow with you guys. If people are more speedier, and then you want to do like start develop another pattern, I can, because I've shown you the principle. You can do it again. Does that make sense? Yeah. Um, and I don't want it to be about, oh, I'm making a bag. It's got nothing to do with you making a bag. The focus is, can I sew straight? Can I make a strap? Can I make a pocket with it? Yeah. Can I draft a pattern? Because these are the core skills that you would need to take into your fashion. So if those of you want to progress into making garments, then these are the core skills that you would need to take it into that direction. Yeah. So I hope that makes sense, Antonia. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Like I said, the sessions are recorded, so if you can't physically make it, they will be recorded and uploaded onto the Thinkific website, and then you can like review it at your own time. But I would encourage you, if you can do it within the week, that it's recorded, so then you're not behind and you can ask questions while I'm physically here, if that makes sense. Yeah? Sorry, I'm just logging. Any more questions? Yes. 4 weeks. Yes. 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 Because to have access to me for that amount, it will be around the 400 mark. And the students that you saw in the presentation, they're the ones that paid for that. For one to one. But this setup is because we were in a group. And you do have me one to one, and that's why I've spent the time making sure we have the kind of multi-camera setup and clarity. But by all means, feedback is key. If there's anything, if there's ever a session you felt that you didn't get a proper understanding, please call me up on that. Accountability is so important to me, and providing a good service. I think, yeah, getting you happy and content first is and foremost is what I want. And at the end of it, you feeling I understand the sewing machine. I can actually make this one item in multiple different ways in multiple different fabrics. And then I would like to progress. You may not want to progress with me, that's fine. But at least I can give you the tools and access into that kind of world. I also own about 100 books, fashion books. I will show you one day. I will fill a whole table or a whole room with all my sewing books. I am definitely a nerd when it comes to sewing, just because I had a teacher, yes, but I always went the extra mile. So if we do a session today for 1 hour on how to draft a pattern, I'm expecting you, it may be too quite harsh, to go and spend that extra time and say, okay, what did I learn with Joyce and how do I practice this? How do I make sure it's right and it makes sense to me? And then jot it down. Okay, I didn't get this, I didn't get that. And then you can reach out to me. And what I also do, I'll create a WhatsApp group. So if there's anyone that has created something like it's wrong or something snagged on the machine, we can all like upload it onto the page and then we can troubleshoot it together. Yeah, cool. Well, ladies, thank you so much. Like, please feel free if you have any more. I have about, I think there's 3 minutes on this call. If there's anything that you want or need more clarity in, please feel free to call me. I'll message you individually just to give you the link. I've put the link of the website in the chat, but I'll resend it to you again. Yeah. Do I have any more? So it's Antonia. I've heard from T. Latavia, you there? Latavia is my youngest student. So Latavia joined me. When did we work together, Latavia? Latavia started with me. This is 2000. I think it was 2018, just before lockdown, and she worked. We did the one-to-one sessions where she made her own body pattern, and Izzy wanted a princess dress, wasn't it, Latavia? How old are you now, Latavia? 16, and she made her own princess. Well, we've done the toile of it, the full skeleton of it, but we've yet to complete it. But because of COVID, we've been away. So she's come back and wants to learn the bag making process. So I'm excited for her. And you're starting. You said you're starting Wolverhampton. Can you quickly tell me about your course that you're doing? She's doing yeah, she's doing a BCE at Walthamstow, and like, when she started with me, she always wanted to do fashion. She was really good at drawing, but never really had the confidence to like push through and sew. So I'm glad for you. Just to say, Latavia, we have the other girl, Akosia, that you did the kimono with. She's also going to Kingston University, so to do fashion as well. Okay, ladies. Well, I will message you individually. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time. And I'll hopefully see you very soon in terms of coming to the class. Yeah? I'll reach out to you individually with the details. If you have any questions, message me. Thank you. Bye.